We are here with Utkarsh and Kaly. These two guys have got music project out, and I feel an immediate connection to them already because Kaly is from my home state of Jersey, and we've probably bumped into one another at concerts or on New Jersey Transit
Yeah.
and didn't even know it. And of course, to many of you, Utkarsh is going to look familiar because he's on the hit show Ghost. You've seen him on Broadway. You've seen him in Pitch Perfect, all sorts of great movies. And these two guys, I'm happy to say, have gotten together. They've got a music project that I heard that just dropped this week that I was really glad landed in my lap. And we're going to talk some music today. So welcome to the show, guys.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for having
And
us.
for everyone watching and listening, we already recorded 20 minutes that this motherfucker, this fool did not. Oh, God bless you. God bless you, Mr. HK. But he did not press record. So we are back again for the first time, ladies and gentlemen.
I thought I was in the producer seat and an engineer was doing it for me.
When they don't press record, it's always a great feeling. It's always your best take.
It's always the best take.
excellent. It's
Yeah,
always-
right. It was so good. It was so natural, and you're never going to see it.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, viewers and listeners, what we were discussing, which you completely missed, was how we met. I'm
Yes.
just going to take over here, HK, because you've
Do
lost
it, man.
a
Do
little
it.
credibility.
Do it.
No.
I'm sitting back here. Wait, you know what? Here, cheers. Go ahead. You
Cheers,
got
you
it.
know what? Cheers to you.
You got it.
It's funny.
So, Kaly, talk to us a little bit, my friend. You've worked with one of the most famous Bollywood music producers in the history of mankind. He goes by the name of A.R. Rahman.
Yes, sir.
For those who don't know, this guy he's I don't
He's
know.
the Quincy Jones. He's the
Yeah,
Quincy
you were
Jones.
right. That was a good description.
He's
But
the
he's
Quincy
like-
Jones.
He's Quincy Jones, he's Berry Gordy, he's Prince, he's Will.I.Am, he's Timbaland, he is everyone. He's freaking Mutt Lang. Is that the guy's name?
Yeah, Mutt
Yeah.
Lang.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's all of them. He does every genre of music, and Kaly's worked with him a lot. So, Kaly, how did that relationship come about?
This is amazing. Yeah, AR's the man. I think it's a blessing to be able to say I know this guy, just like it's a blessing for me to know you, Utkarsh. And I think I had a couple of my music videos back in the day on rotation on VH1 in India, and I had sampled some of his music. I think AR must have seen that. It must have gotten to him in some way. And as just proof of how nice of a guy he is, he wasn't like screaming on me about why did you sample my stuff. He was just kind of like, hey, you're really good. Do you want to work? And I was just like, this, I thought it was like, didn't even think it was him, initially.
Yeah.
And then it's just been after that, we've just had a really great chemistry. I mean, like he FaceTimes me sometimes is the weirdest thing on the planet, to just like,
Oh, cool.
to get that is like, it doesn't make any sense. And he'll be like, hey, I have this song. It has to come out tomorrow. Can you write something really quickly? And I'll be like, you didn't have any time, sir, for this, but like, whatever, like, I'll just write it real quick, get it done. And then it's out in the world and like millions upon millions of people have heard it. It's a really crazy feeling. Super blessed.
So you've been doing that, and I'm sorry, Utkarsh, I don't want to take the interview away from you.
It's okay. I'll allow it.
I'm gonna grab it. I'm gonna grab it back for a little bit.
Please do. I was sending it back to you regardless. Don't worry.
So Kaly's had these great musical experiences. He's been doing his rap thing, and he's been working with great people. You, of course, have a musical background as well, which many people who maybe were only introduced to you through the hit TV show Ghost, maybe they don't realize how much music's been a part of your life too, and with the Pitch Perfect movies and everything. So how did you two guys find one another?
Well, it was about, 10 years ago. Shouldn't have had that sip of coffee with you. Kaly kind of reached out through social media, and I'm always really interested and enthusiastic about fellow South Asian artists, specifically hip hop artists. And we chatted about music, and I was able to hop on a track of his called Don't Care many, many years ago. We did a song and a video together. We'd never been in the studio though. And several years later, I know he's been working with A.R. Rahman, and I had the TV show, and I put out a bunch of solo albums, and I did the Broadway thing with Freestyle Love Supreme, and rapping at the Oscars got me a little bit more shine, which was really cool. with Questlove, who I know has been on this show. Um, and it took about 2 years of texts back and forth, just trying to find the literal time to get in the same room together because Kaly was like, hey man, I want to be in the studio with you. And I kept being like, let's do it remotely. Just send me beats. I'll record stuff. And he was adamant about us spending time together, which in retrospect was a great idea and a huge gift for me. Um, can I ask you a question now, HK? Having heard the
Yeah.
album Two Grown Men by UTK and Kaly, you are like, you worked with Tommy Boy for years. As far as hip hop goes, you know the golden era probably better than anyone. In hearing our project, what did it remind you of? What were your thoughts just sonically? What did it bring
Sonic,
up for you?
yeah, sonically, I liked the kind of lo-fi hip hop vibe that was there, but somehow it was woven into a texture of something different and something today, if that makes sense to you.
That
And
was, yeah,
yeah,
that was hopefully
yeah,
that was the goal for
That was the
sure.
goal. Yep.
yeah, and that's what really appealed to me was that combination of elements, that sonic dynamic. It really quenched my musical palate because, yeah, being an old school hip hop head, I have so many favorites from back in the day, but I'm also a studio geek and I live in the studio and I love technology and I love new sounds and but it's when you can find that wonderful marriage, that sonic marriage, and you can bring it together and then add a new element or dynamic to it. And that's what I was hearing in this. So, I mean, literally, it was 30 seconds after I finished listening to the EP, I immediately reached out to your teams and said, let's get the guys on the show.
Thanks so much for
I
having us.
appreciate
It's
it.
really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The project came together so organically. Like I said, it took 2 years to plan and 2 days to make. The entire thing was created in the studio together in 2 days. There were no old ideas used. Everything here is a new idea that was created from scratch with either myself plunking away on the piano or Kaly coming in with a hook that he was working on, playing a song off a voice note. All the, I played guitar and piano on the album. Shankar, our producer, did all the instruments in house. And it was really like, you guys know this, any musicians listening, like on your way to the studio can be like a scary experience because you never know if it's going to hit or not. And
Right.
you've been in it way more than me in terms of working with others, but sometimes the studio can be a cold and dark place where no light comes in. And for some reason, you and the people in the room just aren't the vibe. The
Right.
universe is not interested in joining that party. And so it feels like work. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely. My friends always think it's what they see in the movies. It's just everybody's partying and drinking, and it's like a house party. And I'm like, you don't understand. It can be a very cold, sterile, kind of medicinal environment. And then there's all this pressure to suddenly come up with some creative genius.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
And when it is when it's when it feels like work, it's really not fun. Even if you get something special out of it, you never really go back to it with a good feeling because you know how painful it was. You've earned it, but you didn't like enjoy it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, but on the way to the studio, I was like, I don't have shit to share with Kaly or Shankar. What am I going to do? I got to prove my value somehow here. I've made these fools wait for 2 years. Like, can't just show up and be like, what do you got? So I turned my voice notes on and started sort of free associating. And the first thing that came up, it wasn't complex by any stretch of the word, but it was that first verse and then a beatbox that became the chorus for our first single, Bring in the 808s.
Yeah.
And so I had something, but again, that's just to sort of prove to these guys that I give a shit.
Yeah.
What I didn't know is that I came in, hi, how are you? Wow, nice setup, cool. Where, you got sparkling water, amazing. And then here's the voice note that I just made in the car. What do you think? Shankar, our producer, immediately goes to his setup and starts banging out the beat. Within 5 minutes, he knew exactly what was in my head, put the beat down. In 10 minutes, I had recorded the first verse. 15 minutes later, Kaly had recorded his verse because he's a very slow writer.
Very slow, right?
And
Very
and
slow
then
writer.
and then within the hour, the first track was done. The first day we did 3 songs. The second day we finished them up, and then we worked on a song called Glass Bottles with another producer who blessed us, and we did a little bit of work on that with him in post. But yeah, it took 2 years to get us in the same room, and then 2 days to make the whole thing. It did not feel like we worked at all. It just came.
But you know
It was
what?
so fun.
That in my personal experience, that is when the hits come, which almost defies logic, because you feel like a hit, you should toil over it, you should have to grind it out, and you put it under the microscope and overdub and do this and do that, and with all the sessions I've been in on and been blessed to be in on, it seems when it just comes and flows out of you and you're like, oh, we just tracked 10 songs in a day and a half, whatever. And it's amazing. Sometimes that's when the magic is happening. But like you say, the hardest part is finding the time, preparing for it, and just getting everybody in the same place, in the same room at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like incredibly scary, like even having to follow, like hearing Utkarsh talk about like how he was, insecure a little bit coming to the studio is crazy to me, because I was like, that was us. We were like, oh my God, we have like royalty coming into the studio. We look up to this dude. And I know his style and how he writes and how he's like really quick with it. And I'm not. And somehow, I think about it so much even now, like after the project has been put out, that like for us to find that space of time, I knew Shankar and Utkarsh separately.
Yeah.
And have never worked with Utkarsh in a studio. And to find that time to get all 3 of us there together, for it all to just happen like that, for us to crank out like 7 or 8 songs, that still doesn't make sense to me that can happen. Like I've heard so many, especially rappers, who are like, oh yeah, we go in, we make like 10 songs a night, we make like 15. I've heard that before. And I was like, I don't know how that happens.
Yeah.
But I feel like we found it in that room, and it's so insane to me, and I'm so grateful for it, because it could have gone completely wrong.
It could have gone
so
sideways.
wrong.
Could have gone sideways.
Yeah.
But that's also, I think, one of the inherent things that hasn't changed through the decades with hip hop. Hip hop is you've got a beat, you've got a verse you want to spit, and you get it down, and it comes out. It's very different than doing, movie orchestration or a Celine Dion pop record where you're going to have 48, 56 tracks, and it's going to take 500 hours to mix it down, and it's really just about capturing the vibe. And if you've got a great vocal hook, a great beat, and if you've got something to say and the right people in the room, it can come together.
Yeah.
Without having to jump through 500 hoops.
Yeah, and you could take lunch breaks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like amazing sandwich place during the session.
Right.
Freaking sandwiches. We had a good time making this, and I hope that the joy and sort of reverence for the space is felt in the recording. Because, like you said, we experienced a vibe and an energy, and if we captured even 40 to 60% of that on record, then we'll have done our job. We really got out of the way of the music on this one, so it felt great.
Yeah, that's awesome. Kaly, any plans to do some live shows in support of the EP?
I would love to. I think that would be super cool. I don't think I've done many live shows in my life, to be honest. This would be a place where I bet I would learn like 90%, like 100%. I mean, I don't know why I said 90, 100% from my good friend here with Karsh, but yeah, I'd be down. I think it's there's a visuality to it that I think would be super cool.
And Utkarsh, I gotta ask, in front of the camera or behind the mic?
The long answer is that I've been a professional actor now since I was like 19 years old. And often in my career, it's been about what I've looked like and what that means in society. And what happens is actors are put in boxes. So like brown dude is put in a box, which historically is, you know, tech guy, nerd, even further back. Not that there's anything wrong with these professions, but when you are an artist and want to live a wide variety of experiences
Right.
through your art, being told that you can only play cab drivers, terrorists, and computer nerds is limiting, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I've grown a little bit hard shelled, like Raphael, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, not the artist. So I'm a little cynical about the acting world in terms of like the opportunities and the gatekeeping and who's allowed into the rooms and who's allowed on the floor at the Golden Globes and who has to sit up in the back and blah blah blah.
Yep.
There's very little control. And when I'm behind a mic, if I'm being honest, it's me and whatever you call that. I think it's easiest to call it God, but I don't really know if that's the right word for it. It's just the one that people understand the most.
Yeah.
But so behind the mic, if I could have gone to college for rap, for freestyle rap, I would have. If there was a, you know, if there was a degree at NYU for battle rap, I would have taken it. But like they didn't they don't have that in the
They don't
curriculum.
have it. They don't have it. Right.
So for me, the communion and the ritual of making music in collaboration with other artists whose hearts are open, minds are open, with no expectation, full effort, zero expectation, will always beat sitting in an auditioning room with 50 other guys that look just like you to play a part that's already been offered to Ryan Gosling. You know what I mean?
Right. No, it's spot on, spot on. And it's just so freeing just being on a mic and letting that creativity come out. And nowadays it's a much more level playing field. You know, when I first got into the record business, a demo, you know, had to come through a producer you were working with, a recording engineer, an entertainment attorney who might have signed another act with you. You know, you had to come through the network, you know, kind of like the Hollywood thing. And what I love about the music scene now, thanks to, you know, YouTube and Spotify and TikTok, to me, it's like the ultimate level playing field. And that's not to say it's easy, because now there's so much more noise that you have to break through. But you could make music, you can create, and you can put it out there, and it's much more than just performing locally. You know, you can have something go viral all around the world if it resonates with people, and it can happen like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and more importantly to me, less about the sort of adulation or the viral aspect of it, is just the experience of having that physical release that comes with creating, right? It's just like I get to keep my soul replenished, and I get to just like engage in a joyful act with people that if somebody listens to it, great. And if not, I'm great. I feel awesome. I'm full, Kaly's full, Shunker's full, the people that love us, our families have connected. Like we have created an environment and a family now through this project that is a beautiful thing. Now, if other people want to join in, I'm not going to stop you. Please.
Yes.
We would love to be viral. I don't know, actually. I don't actually care, if I'm being honest. It's just kind of like, I'm just glad I can still make music.
That you can make
And
music.
and I think that really speaks to like the title of the project too. Like that's what you're gonna get. You're gonna get like two grown dudes who are kind of in that same space where we're just like, yeah, it's fine. Listen to it. Don't listen to it. Like we made what we wanted to. We love it, and it's good. We know it's good. Oh.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, the EP is called Two Grown Men, and you can download it and stream it right now. Thank you both so much for being here. Great to chat with you in the mix.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Thanks for
Much
having me.
appreciated. Great to talk to you too.